All right, it's actually working. We are live. All right, I give people some time to get in here. Hi, you guys. Hope you guys can hear and see me okay. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me and see me. I'm doing this from my phone, so this is not my first time going live from my phone, but there can be issues sometimes. So today is my birthday. Thanks to you guys for showing up to party with me. I'm also going to be doing a Q&A today. So I've gotten a lot of questions on my TikTok as well as here on my YouTube under my videos about my weight loss journey, where I am today, how things are going. So yeah, I want to answer those questions as well as other questions about GLP-1 medications and things like that. So I'm going to be going over those questions that I've received today. And yeah, I'm really excited about going over them. I've gotten so many questions from you guys, people who are interested in starting GLP-1s, people that are on them that have some questions. So I have my notebook here. I got a whole list of questions and things that we're going to go over. And then towards the end, I actually have a big announcement. I actually hit another huge milestone in my weight loss journey. So I'm excited to share that with you guys as well. So comment down below and let me know if you are on any GLP-1 medications or if you are on a weight loss journey. I'm interested to know kind of what you guys are going through right now or what you're dealing with, where you are in your journey. So share that down below. Yeah. Let's see. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to give you guys some updates on my journey and how my things are going so far. I have been on semaglutide for, I think, about 10 months now. I will tell you guys how much weight I've lost kind of a little bit later on in the video. But so far, things have been going amazing with my journey. I will say I have not been taking the medication consistently, like every single week. Um, but I will say that the slowly but surely kind of losing weight over time has really been what's been helpful for me. I think it's going to help me in the long run with being consistent with my weight loss and keeping the weight loss, keeping the weight off once I get to the end of things and I don't want to take the medication anymore. And it has kind of forced me to create really good routines along the way as well. So, um, losing the weight slowly has kind of been my jam. I will say that it's kind of helped with my body as far as keeping up with the weight loss as well, which I'll go over because someone asked me a question about my skin and things like that. So I'll definitely go over that as well. But as far as my journey, I talked a little bit about the reason I started the medication. I do have PCOS and I do have hypothyroidism. So I've been dealing with those on and off for years now. I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism way back, kind of after I had my son. Sorry, you guys, my dog's in the room with me. So I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, and I went to an endocrinologist that over medicated me over an extended amount of time to where my thyroid went from hyperactive to hypoactive. And after that, my journey with weight has just been all over the place. It's been up and down. I gained and lost weight back and forth and back and forth. And I went in about a 2 to 3 year span, I was up and down between like a size, maybe like a size 2 to like a size 12. Like my weight fluctuated significantly. And I just could not get a grasp on what was going on. I finally got my thyroid under control, got on the correct medications because I was on the wrong medication. I got put on the correct medications and kind of found balance, but I still had a hard time with losing weight whenever I needed to lose the weight. I found myself just holding on to weight, certain areas. I know a lot of people can relate, pockets of fat that just kind of stick there in certain areas of your body where you're like, okay, the rest of my body, I can lose the weight, but there's just one specific area that the fat seems to just stick there. For people with PCOS, you understand this is always going to be belly fat. Like our bodies tend to gain weight there and hold on to weight there. And so it's kind of tough. It's very tough for us to lose weight. On top of that, it does cause you to have insulin resistance. So I dealt with a lot of those issues as well. You see issues that are in alignment with diabetes. So initially, I was diagnosed with diabetes. This is back when I was in nursing school. And I was absolutely mortified. I did everything that I could do to try and lose the weight. I was able to lose some of the weight on my own, but when I had lost the weight that I lost and my blood glucoses were still the same, my doctor was like, something's not right here. And it really took for that one doctor to kind of look into things and realize, okay, you're coming in for all of these pelvic ultrasounds. And every single time you come in for an ultrasound, we're seeing cyst on your ovaries. And that's when they diagnosed me with PCOS. And once I got that diagnosis of PCOS, it kind of started to make sense. The more I went down the rabbit hole of researching it, I was like, wow, okay, so everything about this is reading back to the issues that I'm having with where I'm gaining the weight, how I'm gaining the weight. Even though I'm eating healthier and I'm working out, I'm still having a hard time losing the weight. My blood sugars are still off the chain. And I really told my doctor, like, I don't want to start medications for diabetes if I don't have to. Let's see what else we can do first. And we never really got a hold of that, to be honest with you. I never really found a balance with my PCOS. I just kind of tried to navigate around it the best that I could because I didn't have providers who were able to give me the answers or give me the resources I needed. Well, fast forward shortly after that, the pandemic happened. And I will say that I've shared this in one of my other videos that I had plastic surgery, and having the surgery did not really help much. Well, I won't say it didn't help, but I did gain weight afterwards. And it's because I did not have a grasp on my PCOS and what I needed to do for my body. Um, so starting on the semaglutide, the main reason I wanted to try it is because I knew I needed something to help me control my blood sugars. I knew I wanted to lose weight, and I knew I wanted to do it in a healthy way. And looking at the medication, I understood GLP-1s help you to control your blood sugars. They help you to get all those other hormonal things in place. I had also heard just really good stories of people who were able to correct some of the issues they have with PCOS because it is a hormonal imbalance. The insulin resistance issues that they were having. And I thought to myself, this would be perfect for me to try. Once I started it, literally the very first week, I had lost 6 pounds. And I was absolutely shook by that. So it felt amazing. I knew I wasn't going to lose 6 pounds every week. That's not realistic, and it's also not healthy. But it was a reality check for me that this really could work for me. And I was definitely willing to give it a try long term to see what it could do for me overall. So with that being said, I have been on it for 10 months now, and it has made a tremendous difference in my overall health and my lifestyle. I have been consistently losing weight over time, even though I'm not consistently taking the medication. I will say I don't take it every single week, or I have not always taken it every single week is what I will say. A lot of you guys know there's an availability issue with these medications where it's not always going to be available. The availability has improved as far as some of the compound pharmacies being able to provide it, which thank God for that. That's where I get my medication from, is a compound pharmacy. As well as Eli Lilly being able to increase their supply of like the Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro, all the things, right? So that has helped with the availability of the medication, but it hasn't always been consistent like that. So I know there's a lot of people that are in the same boat as me where you're not able to consistently get your medications because at some point you've had some type of hiccup along the way. For me, it has been more so not necessarily access to the medication, but more so how long it takes for the medication to get to me sometimes. Sometimes there have been lags and like waiting, where it takes the pharmacy a long time to send me my medications. And that's what's caused the void in me not taking it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the case may be. Also, this is not a cheap medication. Like, let's be honest about that. It is not a cheap medication. I will say that I'm very blessed to have access to more options because of the business that I run, and being able to look at the different options. But it's not a cheap medication by any means. So there are a lot of people in the same boat as me where you have had gaps in your medication where you're not taking it consistently for those reasons as well. And I kind of want to give you guys hope too, that just because you haven't been taking it every single week over the long haul doesn't mean that you're not going to lose weight. You can still lose the weight, and to just do the best that you can do with what you have. If you do have to take gaps or take breaks in between the medication because financial wise you're not able to do it, that's completely okay. Do the best you can with what you have. And as long as you're continuing to make the changes as far as physical wise, of your lifestyle changes, that's where it's really going to count. Continue to do the things even when you're not on the medication, and it's going to help you to get to where you want to be. So yeah, that's kind of been my story of how I've gotten to where I am now. Like I said before, it's not perfect. It's not the prettiest journey. It's not perfectly curated like some people's experiences. I will say that before these medications got as popular as they are right now, you'll see there's a lot of people who are online talking about their semaglutide, Wegovy, or not semaglutide, but Wegovy and Ozempic or Mounjaro journeys. This is way before the compounding versions were even a thing, right? Or even popular is what I will say. And they will say, I got the diagnosis, I got the medication prescribed, I went to the pharmacy, I took the medication consistently for 6 months or a year, and this is my weight loss story. And they don't have the gaps where they had issues of accessing the medication. And you're like, man, I wish I could lose the 40 pounds that fast or the 60 pounds that fast as they did. And it can be discouraging because they didn't have the same issues that a lot of us are facing right now when it comes to access to the medication, or even maybe the level of expense, or maybe they didn't have issues with their insurance approving it because like I said, once again, that they didn't have those issues because at the time it may have not been an issue. Or maybe the way that their doctor put the prescription in, maybe the way that their insurance coverage is. And so that can be discouraging that your story is not as cookie cutter or is not as curated and clean cut and smooth as theirs is, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get to the finish line. So that's the main thing that I really want to share with you guys is just be consistent in the ways that you can be consistent. And even if there are gaps in you taking the medication, just stick with it to the best of your ability and know that you're going to get to where you want to be. Okay. My story is not cookie cutter as well, by any means. I know there's a lot of people who frown upon the compound versions of these medications. And I think it is what it is. I think that every one of our journeys is going to be different. I will kind of go over a little bit later as we go through the Q&As. I got a lot of questions about compound pharmacies and which ones are safe to use and things like that. And I will be able to give you guys a link of where you can find the approved, like not necessarily approved, but the FDA's list of compound pharmacies that they recommend, meaning these are vetted compound pharmacies. So you can start with the compound pharmacy and work backwards to find yourself a provider. Or if you do find a provider that's outside of your normal primary care provider who's interested in prescribing to you, you can kind of say, hey, is the pharmacy you use on this list? And you can always bring that up in conversation. Whenever you're getting something prescribed to you, something you're putting in your body, you are more than able to ask those types of questions. And as a patient, you should be asking those types of questions, right? Because efficacy of the medication and your safety are always going to be the top priority. That's why I recommend that you specifically do that to make sure that you're keeping yourself safe. I know that there's a lot of people that are just hot and ready to jump on these medications, but your safety has to be first and foremost in the process of this. I've seen a lot of shady things going on, a lot of situations that are just like not safe. There are people who are getting in trouble because they're trying to sell their medications, like maybe their insurance and their doctor prescribed the name brands like Wegovy and Ozempic to them. And they're like, maybe they're done taking the medications, or maybe they're continuing to go to the doctor and asking for the medication because they don't want to use it or they're not using it, but they're trying to sell it. Do not do that. You guys do not buy this medication from anybody who's just selling it online. Get your own prescription specifically for you. That is so dangerous. That's so dangerous. I can't say that I can think of anybody who would even physically be able to like load those pens with something that is outside of what's supposed to be in them. I don't know if that's physically possible or if they would be able to figure out how to do that. But the efficacy of those medications, you don't know. You don't know the conditions they were kept in. You don't know if that person's used that pen. Do not buy medications from people who are selling it. Like I've seen people on Facebook, like Marketplace, trying to sell it. And yeah, don't do that, you guys. Make sure that you are seeing a provider that is prescribing it specifically for you, that you meet the qualifications for the medication. And if you don't, you can always talk to your provider about other options because there are other options as far as weight loss, you guys. So That's just my 2 cents on that, because it is so dangerous and there's so many like really shady situations. Speaking of shady situations, okay, so the FDA put out a like an article not that long ago talking about how some people are selling semaglutide and tirzepatide, the compound versions of the drugs, and it's not the real true drug. It's not what it's supposed to be. So once again, ask your provider what pharmacy they are using. Um, yeah, that's the best way I would say to go about it, is ask them what pharmacy they use and check and reference that based off of the FDA's list, which I will link to this video after we're done with the video. I will send it to you guys, or make sure you guys have access to that. Just another way to make sure that you are getting the real thing and not the fake. And there's a lot of people who kind of question, like, oh, I haven't lost weight. I've been on it for 3 weeks. Am I on the real thing? Like, it's going to take longer than 3 weeks for you to start losing weight. So don't let that be the basis that you're like, or the foundation of, is this the real medication or not? Or is this medication going to work for me or not? Because you're not going to see like real consistent weight loss 3 weeks in. It's going to take time for it to build in your body to start to work. I heard one influencer say online, she said, you wouldn't go to a doctor and get medications for depression and take it one day and expect to be happy the next. Most medications, it's going to take some time to build that medication in your system for it to start to consistently work. You can, like I said before, everyone's story is different. I myself lost 6 pounds the first week. So you can see weight loss within the first week, but you're not going to see that consistent weight loss within the first week or two. You're just not. So don't just take a medication for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks and be like, oh, this doesn't work, and throw it out. I did a video on that as well, and I think it was called like the gray area of semaglutide. Another really big factor that a lot of people don't think about, it's not on their radar because they're just so like tunnel vision focused on the weight loss aspect, is the fact that people will go into the doctor and say, hey, I want to be prescribed semaglutide or Wegovy, Ozempic, whichever one. And I want it just because I need to lose 20 pounds. Like, I just put on an extra 20 or 30 pounds and that's it. I'm not diabetic or anything, but they have no idea that they could be diabetic or they could be pre-diabetic because they haven't had their labs checked. Like, if you haven't had your labs checked in the last 6 months or a year, you may not know that you are pre-diabetic. And the reason why that matters, knowing that information, is because it gives you a baseline of where to start. Taking this medication for just losing weight, if you have no other issues going on in your body, like, yeah, if you're going to take it and you're just taking it for that, then yeah, you might expect that you're just dropping the pounds off. But for people who do have other comorbidities, if you have PCOS, if you have hypothyroid, if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic, it might take you a little bit longer to lose the weight and to lose weight consistently. So if you know that ahead of time and you're not expecting that you want to lose that 20 pounds in like 2 weeks, you're going to know, I'm in this for the long haul. It may take me a little bit longer. I'm going to have to be patient. And this is why I'm not seeing the weight loss in the first week or the first 2 weeks or the first 2 months. Because it may take you a little bit longer, especially for those who are pre-diabetic and who do have some of those other conditions. A lot of those people are not seeing consistent weight loss until they hit the 1 milligram mark and above. And a lot of people are quitting before they even get to that mark. And like I mentioned earlier, financial wise, that is a big reason why a lot of people cannot stay on the medication for a longer time. So if you are going into this expecting within the first couple weeks, I'm going to lose the weight and I'm dropping all of this money for this medication, and then you don't see weight loss, I can see why people are just quitting, because they're like, this is a lot of money for me to spend to not lose weight. But if you're going into it realistically understanding, I'm not going to see weight loss in the first month. Consider those initial doses until you even get to the 1 milligram, just starter doses, loading doses. the prelude to the actual weight loss that you're going to actually start to consistently see once you get above that 1 milligram mark. Okay, so don't get discouraged. Don't quit too early and actually miss out on the weight loss and all of the other benefits that you could be getting just because you're like, oh, it's not working for me after 2 weeks, or it's not working for me after a month. Give it time. Especially those first 4 weeks, it's just loading in your system. It's literally just loading in your system. So give it some time. For those of you who are joining us, hi, you guys, welcome, come on in. We are talking about my semaglutide weight loss journey. We are celebrating my birthday. Today is my birthday. And I have a big announcement for you guys closer to the end of the video of some updates on my weight loss journey as well. So come on in, you guys. Thank you so much for all the birthday love. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much, Yvonne and I reached for the birthday love. I really appreciate it. Yvonne said, I know this is an investment. Yes, it really is. This is an investment. You are really investing in yourself. So like I said earlier in the video, for those of you who may have missed it, is that I understand when some people cannot consistently take the medication. I myself have not consistently taken it over the 10 months. I can't say over that 10 months every single week I took it. It is expensive. It really is. As far as the expense wise and the access to the medication, it is tough to get your hands on it and consistently be on it. This is an investment. If you're able to make that investment in yourself and you're able to get this medication and stay on it consistently, it is such a blessing. I would say it's an investment in the future, in your future, in living a healthier lifestyle or having a healthier lifestyle and living longer and having that longevity of life just because of the benefits of the weight loss that you will see. So, Yvonne, I'd be interested in hearing how your journey is going so far and how you're doing on the medication, which GLP-1 medication you are on. I myself, I'm on semaglutide, and it's been an amazing journey. I am very, very, very excited with my progress so far. Like I've said in so many of my videos, both here and on my TikTok, the biggest thing for me was my blood pressure. My blood pressures were so sky high and I could not find anything. I couldn't find anything to help me with my blood pressures. And the second I started taking the medication, after I lost the first 6 pounds, I take my blood pressure, you guys, like I have a blood pressure cuff both here at my house and at my place of business. Sorry, one sec. I have something going on. Oh, I'm just kicking my camera all over the place, you guys. It's actually my blood sugar machine that was actually going off, you guys. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this as well, too, for those of you who are looking for a really good device to track your blood sugars. So I take my blood pressure, and I noticed immediately as soon as I had lost that first 6 pounds, my blood pressure started to go down. And as I lost the next 5 pounds, it went down further and it went down further and it went down further. My blood pressures were, I kid you not, 160s. And as a nurse, I knew I was a ticking time bomb because if you are 160s and above, that is stroke territory, you guys. That's the blood pressure that we fuss at patients about in the hospital. Like, we got to get this together. And me as an ICU nurse, I know this 110%, but everything I was doing to get my blood pressures to come down was not working. And I really did not want to go on medication for hypertension, you guys. I did not. So I knew, I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see what this does for my blood pressure because I know that I want to live a long, healthy life. I know that having hypertension was causing me to have these headaches, just from the pressure of your blood, like your blood pressure being so high. And I kid you not, it is the thing that just changed everything for me. My blood pressure is now usually 119, 120s. I think the highest I've seen my blood pressure since I've hit the 15-pound mark is 130. It's textbook 130/73 or something like that, you guys. That to me is amazing. Every time I take my blood pressure, I'm like, whose blood pressure is this? Like, it's amazing to me. So I'm very grateful for this medication. If I don't lose another pound, the fact that my blood pressure is corrected and I'm not on any hypertensive medications, that is the one reason why, like, I would tell everybody about this medication. It has made a tremendous difference in my life, from that to also getting my blood sugars under control as well. As I mentioned earlier in the video, um, I do have PCOS. And so having PCOS, for those of you who don't know, it does cause insulin resistance. So there's a little bit of debate online whether it's like kind of like the chicken, what came first, the chicken or the egg. Some people feel like insulin resistance causes a PCOS, and some people feel like PCOS causes insulin resistance. But either way, I had insulin resistance. So all of the signs and symptoms that come with that, the fatigue and always constantly craving sugary things, I had all of that. The weight gain, specifically in your belly area, I had that, difficulty losing weight. A lot of those things just self-corrected as I took the medication. I haven't had to be on insulin. I haven't had to take any medications for my for pre-diabetics or diabetics, or hypertension medication. So both of those things right there, being able to lose that weight and to help with that insulin resistance, like being corrected, has made a significant difference in my life. So I will like scream it on the mountaintop until I'm blue in the face. This medication is a big deal. Um, Even beyond the weight loss aspect of it, when you think about all the things that can happen when you are dealing with obesity and all the things that come with obesity, just being able to correct those things or being able to give yourself a better chance at a healthier life makes it completely 110% worth it. Um, yes. Okay. So Yvonne said she's on semaglutide and the lipotropic shots. I do the lipotropic shots too. I offer them at my med spa. I call them Lipo Plus Skinny shots, and they are a game changer as well. So I'm glad to see that you are on those. I absolutely love them. Let's see. She said recently blood pressure was 200 over 133. Oh my goodness. Wow. So it sounds like you're dealing with the same issues as me. My heart goes out to you. I completely understand. It is scary. It's so scary when you feel the blood pressure cuff getting tighter and tighter and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And just seeing your blood pressure on the screen being that high, that is so scary. I pray that you get that taken care of, that like over time, especially I see that they put you on medication for that. Just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. I promise you, you'll see changes in those numbers. They will come down. Um, it's so scary though, when you're dealing with that. It's so scary. And the headaches and all the other side effects that come with your blood pressure being so extremely high. I don't know if you experience those. I would have just so much pressure and waking up with headaches, going to bed with headaches. Um, it's a lot to deal with. It is a lot to deal with. So I want to jump into the Q&A. I have a ton of questions here. I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. They are questions that you guys have left either on my YouTube videos or over on my TikTok under my videos. And so I want to try and get through some of them. Some of them are comments that I wanted to add my commentary to, and some of them are actual questions. So I want to start with S. Rodriguez. She left a comment talking about her having depression and anxiety that's caused her to binge eat in the past. And she talked about how being on GLP-1 medications helped to change her relationship with food. And I think that's amazing. Congratulations to her for that. I would say I had a lot of the same issues. I know I've shared my story with you guys before. I had 3 back-to-back losses in my family. My grandfather, my grandmother, and my uncle all passed within a 6-month period. And it completely shook my family. And when you go through trials and tribulations in your life, you're always going to go back to the foundation of whatever your comfort is. And for me, my comfort was food. And so I ate my way through grief. I ate my way through depression. And when I got to the end of it, I remember just feeling like, okay, thank God I am done grieving, although it was definitely complicated grieving. Um, I'm grateful that I got over that hump. However, now I have a whole different issue to deal with because I have packed on the pounds, just eating my way through grief. And I see now a lot of people can relate to that, that sometimes you just reach for whatever the comfort is for you. And food is just one of them. So being able to change your relationship with food is a big deal. I'm very grateful for semaglutide for the exact same reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, with having the insulin insufficiency or insulin issues, it causes you to crave a lot of sugary stuff. And y'all, my go-to is always going to be is strawberry cheesecake. And when I tell you I reach for strawberry cheesecake days and days and days in a row. And yeah, I will say now, now that I have been on the semaglutide, I don't have the same level of cravings. I do still have sweet cravings, but not to the same degree. Like when I do have sweet cravings for things, I will get like a 4-pack of like Reese's and I will eat one Reese's and be like, oh my God, that was so overwhelmingly like sweet. Like that's it for me. Anybody else, I don't know if anyone else has encountered this, but things taste so much sweeter than they used to. So that one Reese's will do it for me. Or like sometimes one Twix will do it for me and I'm done. If I'm craving ice cream, I'll have like 3-4 bites of ice cream and I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a lot. I'm done. I'm not binging the sweets like I used to. The other day at work, my coworkers were laughing at me. So I had my 4-pack of Reese's and literally I was down to 2 Reese's because I've had that pack for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, like a week and a half. And I had this one Reese's that I was literally like nibbling on. And I only got through half a freaking Reese's in a 12-hour shift. And at the end of that 12 hours, I was like, okay, I'm done. And I threw it away. And my coworkers just were laughing at me like, it really took you that long to eat a half a Reese's? And I was like, yeah, like I was craving sweets, but it wasn't like the taste of the Reese's that day for me was just so overwhelmingly sweet that I was literally just nibbling on it, like just for that sweet sensation because I was craving something sweet, but it was overly sweet for me. So foods definitely taste different to me. Things that are sweet are just like amplified, like almost 10 times the level of what they used to taste like. Um, so I will say my relationship with food, as far as binge eating, as far as being a huge snacker, has definitely changed. I can't overeat. I'm eating way smaller portions of food now, which helps as well, because even if I wanted to binge eat mentally, if I'm sad, depressed, whatever the case may be, and I reach for food, I can still only eat so much of it. Because when I get to a certain point, my body's going to be like, you have to stop. Like you're going to get sick. And that's literally what forces me to stop sometimes. Even if I wanted to binge eat, I physically couldn't because I will make myself sick. And I think the root of being able to get off of this medication and to succeed at it when the semaglutide's not there to stop me from binge eating are going to be the mental changes that I make. So digging into the root of that sadness, finding something to replace eating when I do feel sad. When I am stressed, because sometimes I'm a stress eater, sometimes I don't eat at all when I'm stressed. So finding balance and finding what's going to work for me when the semaglutide is not there to make my mind and my body stop eating. What am I going to do to make my mind and body stop eating? And that's something for, I think, all of us to think about, to get to the root of why we are in the situations, whether it be health issues that cause us to gain weight or mental health things like sadness, depression, anxiety, whatever it is that's led you here. What is the root of that and how are you going to correct it? Because when the medication is gone, you're going to go back to your comfort zone. For me, I'm going to go back to my strawberry cheesecake if I don't make those changes and I don't come up with a plan to divert away from that. Thanks so much for the comment, S. Rodriguez. So the next thing that popped up is R.A. Nelson left an amazing comment, and it's talking about protein loading. So I saw this comment a while ago and I replied to it. But if you have not heard, one of the best ways to help to mitigate some of the symptoms that you have after you take your shot, such as the nausea and the vomiting, is to protein load. Ever since I read this comment, I started it and I absolutely love it. So I'm so grateful for R.A. Nelson for leaving this comment. So what you do is the day before you take your shot and the day of your shot, you would increase the amount of protein that you take. When you do that, it's going to help your body to process the medication and you're not going to have the same amount of nausea that you would normally have. So for example, if you know that Fridays are your shot day, which for me, I try my best to take my shot the day before I actually have to physically go back to my job. I work Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays in the hospitals. I work 7 days a week because all the other days I'm working in my business. But days when I'm going to have to be very physically active, which is at my job, I'm working 12-hour shifts in the hospital. I don't want to be sick and nauseous, and I don't want to be tired those days. So I try my best to push my shot day back a couple of days before I have to be very physically active and awake and alert and with it, right? So Friday is my shot day. I know that Thursdays I'm going to protein load. I'm going to eat above the normal amount of protein that I would normally eat. And the day of my shot day, I'm going to do the same. And since I've started doing this, it's been a game changer for me. I do not experience nausea that often anymore. When I do experience nausea, I go back to my go-to, which is my ginger tea that I shared with you guys. The ginger tea is a game changer. I literally, I'm getting happy birthday text messages that are popping up on my screen. But the ginger tea has always been, like, from the very first day that I experienced nausea, it's always been a game changer for me. Literally, as soon as I take the first couple sips of the ginger tea, my nausea subsides almost immediately. So if you're interested in the ginger tea, I'll link it again below under this video. Or if you guys have seen under my other videos, I have a Amazon storefront that's all my GLP-1 favorites, you guys. And under that, I have the ginger tea in there. If you don't like tea, you're not a tea person, that's okay. You can take ginger bites. There's dried ginger. I've seen ginger almost like gummies that in the stores. Ginger is not everyone's favorite. Some people cannot tolerate the taste of ginger. So if you can't do ginger, try mint. I've heard people say that they love mint. Chewing on a mint leaf or mint tea and even just regular mints. I would say that if you are still having issues with your nausea, talk to your provider who has prescribed your medication for you. There are times where when you're going up in a dose, it's just too much for your body and you may have to microdose. So for those of you who don't know what microdosing is, it's just literally increasing by smaller amounts. So let's say instead of going from 0.25 straight up to 0.5, maybe that jump is too much for you. So maybe you would go like 0.25, and then you would go up from there, like, I don't know, 0.4, and then you would get up to 0.5. Everyone's body is different, you guys. So the level of sensitivity and your reaction to the medication could be different just based off of your body. So if you do have to microdose to go up in the dose, there's nothing wrong with that. Talk to your doctor about it. I've seen some people who break their doses in half, where they take half the dose on their regular shot day and they take the other half of their dose the next day just to break it up. That's I think that's a great idea as well. Play with those different ideas. Talk to your provider, whoever's prescribing for you. I'm sure they already have a plethora of amazing ideas because they've tried it with some of their other clients. So, don't be afraid to ask. If you're having issues with the medication, don't just give up immediately. I promise you there's plenty of options out there. Don't give up before you try at least a handful of them. So let me see if there's anything else that I'm missing. For those of you who just joined us, thanks for joining. We're talking about my semaglutide weight loss journey. We're also celebrating my birthday. Today is my birthday. And I'm doing a Q&A. I'm going over all of the questions that I have received on my YouTube under my videos, as well as over on my TikTok. For those of you who don't follow me on TikTok, you should. It's going to be the same handle. It's Life with Lene. I am really trying to be a little bit more consistent on TikTok. What I'm realizing as far as Life with Lene and also for my business, I tend to ask people when they come into my business, how did you find my business? And they say, oh, I found you on TikTok. And TikTok and YouTube are just great search engines. People just tend to find me on there a little bit more. So my goal this year is to be more consistent over on TikTok as well. Some people don't like the long form videos. Some people just want those short tidbits of information. And I don't mind doing those videos as well sometimes. So if you don't follow me over on TikTok, you should. It's Life with Lene. So anyways, we're going to jump into the next question that I received. The next question was about injection sites, and this was a great question. So I always talk to people about your injection sites and trying to rotate your injection sites, and there's a couple reasons why. So let's talk about injection sites first. We'll talk about the most popular ones. Most people go for their belly area, right? You have a little bit more, you may have a little bit more fat there, which makes it a little bit easier, especially for people who don't really like needles. They tend to like the idea of doing it in their stomach because they can just do it and look away and they don't have to see it. So you could do it on your stomach. You can do the back of your arm. For those of you who are doing your own shots, you would just, here, let me see if I can adjust a little bit. You would just kind of lift your arm and you can just do it like this. If you have enough jiggle under your arm here, you can just do your shots like this. If you're worried about hitting a muscle, there's a couple of different ways where you can kind of prop your arm on something to pull the fat from the back of your arm forward and do it on the back of your arm. And there's always your thighs. Your thighs have a good amount of fat on them where you could do the top of your thighs or you can do the inner part of your thighs. Now, when it comes to injection sites, the biggest thing that I talk to people about on here on YouTube, on TikTok, and also my clients who are on GLP-1 weight loss medications is rotating your sites. You never want to do the same site over and over and over again for a couple different reasons. If you have some type of reaction to the medication and you're consistently doing it in the same area, that could be problematic. Some people, their skin is just more sensitive in one specific area. So if you continue to do a shot in the same area over and over and over again and you have a reaction, then you may tend to think like, oh, it's the medication and maybe I'm allergic to the medication. And that's not the case. It's just your skin is more sensitive in that area. Also, our bodies tend to have only a certain amount of medication uptake in certain areas. So if you're doing the medication in the same areas, you're going to change the level of sensitivity to the drug in that area. And also, I've seen some people who tend to get like tiny little nodules in the area when you're doing your shot in the same area, only because when you're injecting yourself, you're almost injuring the skin and the tissue in that area. So consistently doing micro injuries to that area are going to build up and can cause like little nodules of scar tissue. So, but on the same note, I always tell people to rotate sites. Is at least your first month. I want you to try your arm, try your belly, try your thighs. See which one is going to yield the best results for you, like the amount of weight that you're losing that week, but also monitoring your signs and symptoms or your side effects. So if you do your shot in your arm and you're like, I felt less nauseous this week, let me try it in my stomach. The next week, you're like, oh no, I had an increased amount of nausea. Take note of those things and find out what works best for your body. For me, I love doing it in my arms. The arms are easier for me. And on top of doing it in my arms, I tend to lose the most weight when I do my shots in my arms, and I do not have issues with nausea. So I will say for my routine and what I found for myself is between protein loading and doing my shots in my arms, I found the perfect combination for me. So now that I know I like doing my shots in my arms, the thing is always going to be I still have to rotate. If I did my shot in the same spot in my arm every single time, I'm going to build up like a little like nodule there or something essentially. And then eventually I'll find that I'm not getting the same level of response in my body if I'm still doing the shot in the same area too. So make sure that if you do love your arms, you love the belly area, still rotate. So I go from between my left arm and my right arm. Or if I do a shot here, let's say this week, 2 weeks later, I'm going to change the spot on the back of my arm. So I'm still doing it in my arm, still getting the great results from doing the shots in my arms, but I'm rotating the actual injection site. Make sure you guys do that. Also, I saw one TikToker talking about this, and I've been meaning to talk about it as well. And that is if you're not seeing results. If you're not seeing results, if you hit a plateau and you're like, man, I feel like giving up, I haven't seen any results, try changing sites to see if that will kind of help to break that plateau for you. So even myself, for example, if I'm starting to hit a plateau, I'm going to try to give my shot somewhere else and see if that helps. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Melissa, hi, thanks for joining us, Melissa. And Melissa said, thanks for the information I needed about changing sites. You are so welcome. I'm so glad it was helpful for you. This is definitely something I don't think a lot of people really know much about, but it's a game changer, you guys. It's a game changer to try and change sites. And I always encourage people to keep some type of journal in your journey. And every single week, take notes of what you're noticing. So like I said, when I do my shot in my arm, I would literally write the date where I did my shot, what dose I'm on, and what side effects I'm feeling this week. Do I feel more energy this week? Do I feel sad this week? Do I feel like I'm more nauseous this week? Whatever it is you're going through that week, keep note of that. It's going to give you the option to come back and reflect on that. So maybe in the future, you'll say, I noticed I did my shot 3 weeks in a row on my arms and I'm not really seeing anything, or I'm really nauseous. Maybe this is my cue to switch things up. Yeah, that's the best thing I can advise for you. If you guys are interested in a journal to keep track of your progress, I have one. Let me grab it really quick. Oh no, I don't have it available right now. Oh no, I thought I had one right here next to me. I usually do. So my GLP-1 journal that I have published through Amazon, I have it available. I'll drop the link below. It is also on my Amazon GLP-1 must-haves. So I published this journal. It is personally made by me, you guys. So it's all the things that you're going to need for your journey. It has note space for you guys to write what's going on every single week, reflect on how your week has been, what you're going through. You can keep track of your dosages, how much weight you've lost. There's a cute little ticker in there where you can mark off every pound that you've lost, which feels amazing every single week, being able to mark off, what you lost that week. As well as there's like meal trackers in there, fitness trackers in there, water trackers, because your water is super important. All of those things are in there as well. It's just a great resource. And it's going to track at least for the first 6 weeks as far as your meal planner and all of those things. But at the back of the journal, there's additional resources to track things like your blood sugar. If you are tracking your blood sugar, to keep track of that, and your blood pressures and all the things, you have that one journal that has everything. But my favorite part of the journal is actually the very beginning of the journal. The first 4 pages has a bunch of QR codes on there. And all of those QR codes are different resources. You have access to meal planning, different meal ideas. I made Pinterest boards that have like low carb, high protein meals, just a bunch of different meal ideas, snack ideas, drink ideas. If you're trying to get your protein shake on, there's some of those on there. There's also fitness playlist on there, fitness YouTube playlist that I have made. Whether you are a hot girl walk kind of person, you love doing your walks, there's walking exercises on there, there's weightlifting exercises on there, there's everything you can think of on there for different levels, because some of us are in the beginning of our weight loss journey, some of us are more advanced. So there's different varieties of workouts on there as well. And everything's a QR code. You literally just scan it. It takes you right to that playlist or right to those resources. The only thing that's not in there is my Amazon must-haves list. And that's because I actually had made that list after I made the journal. So if you're interested in that, I will drop the link to that in this video after we're, or in the comment section after we're done with this live. Thanks you guys for joining us. I really appreciate you guys coming to celebrate my birthday with me. So the next question, or the next thing I wanted to address, I have seen a lot of questions, people asking me like how much I lost at this specific time, what dose I'm on. I had someone watch my video where I gave myself my shot, and they were trying to zoom in and see like how many units I have in the syringe, and asking how many units. And I want to tell you guys that's dangerous, okay, for multiple reasons. Number one, understanding kind of the progress and how things go. I get everyone's journey is going to be different. Sometimes you just kind of want to get an idea of how other people are doing. But the reason why it's kind of dangerous is because when it comes to the units of this medication, not everyone's units are going to be the same. And this is the reason why. I took a couple of different pictures. They're actually on the phone that I'm recording on, but I'll do a post of them later on, you guys. But just showing. So I, as a provider, I order semaglutide from the compounding pharmacies, semaglutide and tirzepatide from the compounding pharmacies for my clients that are on them. And every time I receive the bottle, well, not every time, but sometimes when I receive the bottles, they are different doses in the vial. So you could get, like I got one time, it was 2.5 milligrams per milliliter. And maybe the next time it's 1 milligram per milliliter. So what that means is that just because you see 20 units in the syringe doesn't mean that it's the same amount of medication, right? It depends on the milligrams per milliliter. So I say that to say this. Don't look at somebody else and how many milligrams they're on and how many milliliters or how many units in the syringe and think like, wow, they've lost 40 pounds. I need to hurry up and get to that milligrams or that amount so that I can lose that weight, or thinking that maybe that's why you're not losing the weight because you haven't hit that certain milligram yet, or just overly comparing your journey to theirs, because everyone is different. Okay. It's also kind of dangerous in the fact that if you're just looking at the units by themselves and you're trying to compare, like you're comparing apples to oranges, because you don't know how many milligrams are in that 20 units, right? So be careful about that. Try your best not to compare your journey to other people's. I noticed there's a lot of people that are on this medication specifically to lose weight who do not have comorbidities, and their stories just seem so like a fairy tale to some people. Like, oh, I took the medication. I was on it for a month. I lost 20 pounds. And that can be so misleading for people who do have comorbidities and other issues that may cause them to, I'm not going to say have a difficult time, but it may take them a little bit longer to lose the weight. So when you are hearing about other people and listening to their stories, take them for what they're worth. And yes, they are inspirational, but don't beat yourself up based off of their progress, thinking that you are not going to get there or you're not progressing fast enough, because that's not the case. Okay. Everyone's story is going to be different. It really depends on your health history, what you're physically going through, also what you're physically doing. Sometimes you may not be drinking enough water, you may not be getting enough protein in, you may not be doing all the things. So don't compare your journey to theirs and think, oh, well, this medication just doesn't work for me because they lost 40 pounds in the same amount of time and I've only lost 5 or I've only lost 10. Instead, take the time to journal your experience and go through your experience for yourself. Celebrate every freaking win, you guys, on and off the scale. learn to recognize wins that are off the scale as well, because there are so many things that are wins, like just making healthy lifestyle choices, getting up and choosing to go for a walk, even though you may not feel like it. The fact you reached for a salad instead of a greasy burger. All of those things are wins. Physically feeling better. I know for me, I don't have as much pain in my body. My joints are not hurting as bad. My back is not hurting as bad. Those are wins, right? All of those are wins. Count them all as wins and celebrate yourself. And I know we think about life as like a scale and we weigh the good and the bad evenly, but I want you to weigh the wins so much higher and the losses so much lower. I want you to think about the losses. Literally take 5 minutes to meditate. Okay, I made a bad choice today. What made me make this choice today? How can I make a better choice tomorrow? Write it down in your GLP-1 journal, reflect on it for 5.2 seconds and move on. Do not beat yourself up. Don't compare yourself to someone else and let that be the thing that you're constantly replaying in your brain that discourages you. Stay positive. I promise you, you guys will get to where you're trying to go. Just continue to be consistent and reflect on the good and the bad, but don't reflect on the bad for too long. Okay. So let's see what else I want to talk to you guys about. Hair loss. Someone mentioned about hair loss, and I wanted to share with you guys that losing your hair while you're on this medication is normal. And the reason why is because anytime the body is kind of going through a war, I would say a war, right? When things that are considered war on our body are drastic changes. So just like having surgery, that's a very drastic change and it stresses your body out. It puts a significant amount of stress on your body. So anytime you put a significant amount of stress on your body, you can have those things. You can have hair loss. So it's naturally something that comes, especially for those people who lose weight super duper fast on this medication. The faster you lose the weight, the faster you may have some hair loss. Okay. But once again, don't let that be something that discourages you to pull back and to not take the medication. There are so many other supplements that you can take to get your hair to grow back. I would even suggest that since we already know that this is something that could happen, go ahead and take the supplements in advance, especially if you know you're going to be on this medication for the long haul. You have a large amount of weight to lose. Go ahead and take those supplements. Add it to your supplement like routine. Go ahead and add. So collagen intake is really important. Collagen is what helps us to build those healthy fibers in our body, but it also helps with hair growth and growing back healthy, strong hair. So collagen supplements are amazing to add to your routine, as well as zinc. Zinc is another really good one for hair growth. And the Nutrafol supplements. I don't know if you guys have heard of those before. I've seen nothing but amazing reviews on the Nutrafol supplements. So I'll be sure to add those as well to the link and add them to my Amazon store if you guys are interested in finding a quick link for those. I've heard nothing but good things about them. And so for me, I have been taking collagen supplements. For me also, I will say it's kind of a little bit of a cheat because I do own a med spa, so I do have access to all of these things, but I do biotin shots and I also do vitamin C. Those are also really good for hair growth and not just growing your hair, but growing strong, healthy hair. So those are two supplements that I take as well. So yeah, if you are losing your hair, I promise you're not losing your mind. It is related to the weight loss, especially, like I said before, if you have lost a drastic amount of weight really fast, that's very stressful on your body. And so yeah, you're going to lose your hair. Try your best to take care of it, keeping your hair moisturized so it's not dry, and that can cause it to be more brittle and cause it to break easier. And taking those supplements to kind of help you with growing your hair back healthier and thicker. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you so much, Miss, is it Rhea? I really appreciate the birthday love. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been amazing. Teresa, thank you so much for the birthday love as well. Amazing, Ziora. Is that how you pronounce it, Ziora? That is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for all the hearts and the birthday love. You guys have been amazing. Melissa, thank you so much for the birthday love as well. All right, so let's see what else I had on my list. Okay, so we're talking about compounding pharmacies next. I briefly hinted on this at the beginning of the live, but for those of you who are not here, this has kind of been a juicy topic online lately as far as where to get your medications from, and if you had any questions about the efficacy of your medication. Um, I will say there's been a lot of information put out there about the fact that some of these compound pharmacies are not doing their due diligence and actually putting out real tirzepatide or real semaglutide. And the FDA put out an article about that they have tested some of these medications and they're saying that they are not what they say that they are. My opinion on this is probably a little bit controversial, but I kind of feel like it's twofold. I do believe that there are some compound pharmacies that maybe there's not 100% as far as the efficacy of the medication. Maybe they are watering the medication down as far as adding other things to them where you're not getting 100% of the medication. Do I believe that? Yes, because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses being the other compounding pharmacies. And when it comes down to making money in this weight loss game, it's all about supply and demand. So I don't doubt for a second that there are some pharmacies that are doing whatever they need to do to kind of keep up. However, I do also believe that that some of that has to do with the fact that Eli Lilly realizes that they are losing money. They are losing money because they are not able to keep up with supply and demand, right? Now, the whole reason why compound pharmacies are able to provide us with medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide is because Eli Lilly cannot keep up. So the suppliers cannot keep up with these medications. They're having a hard time producing enough of the Ozempic and the Wegovy and the Mounjaro. So that's why the compound pharmacies are legally able to give us the tirzepatides and the semaglutides, right? So I will say they recognize the compound pharmacies are their competition. They are losing money by allowing customers to walk out the door because there are other options. And I think with any business, and I mean any business you're in, you're going to lose your clients when you are not able to keep up with supply and demand. So I am not surprised about all of these articles that pop up on a daily basis where they are questioning the efficacy of some of these compound pharmacies. And they're trying to make consumers feel like, is my semaglutide really semaglutide, or is my tirzepatide really tirzepatide? And especially like we talked about earlier, when you have people who they're not going to lose weight in the first month. So if you don't lose weight in the first month, and then you see these articles pop up that say like, maybe your semaglutide really isn't semaglutide, maybe you're going to think, oh man, I just got gypped. I'm paying all this money for the semaglutide. It's not working because it's not real, and to quit. And I think a lot of people are like falling for that, where they're like, okay, I'm not losing weight, so I'm just going to quit. I've wasted all this money on this fake semaglutide. I don't really know where to go to because my provider is not able to prescribe this for me. Or if they do prescribe the name brand like Wegovy or Ozempic for me, I don't have the money to pay for $1,000 a pen, right? And so they just kind of give up and they're like, okay, maybe it's not for me. Or like I said earlier, they do their shot in the exact same area every time and they end up like with a little bit of redness and they're like, oh, well, I'm allergic to it. So, or I'm having a reaction to it. So maybe it is fake. Maybe my medication is fake. And so I would encourage you guys that if you ever fall into that rabbit hole where you are on a compound and you're trying to figure out, is this real? Is it not real? Or if you're trying to obtain this medication and you don't know where to go, once you do talk to your provider, whether it be your primary care provider or you go through like a weight loss clinic or a med spa, ask them what pharmacy they use. You have a right to ask that question as a patient. You have a right to ask what you're putting in your body and to make sure that it is the right medication. The FDA has released a list of pharmacies nationwide, pharmacies that they have essentially kind of vetted. So these are the pharmacies that are up to their standard, and they're saying they have tested their compound version of these medications, and they can say for sure that the efficacy of these medications is 100. You're getting what you're paying for, right? So if you have any questions or concerns along the way, instead of just automatically quitting the medication or not going through that provider, I would ask them what pharmacy they're using, cross-reference it to that list that the FDA has released, and go from there. If for some reason the pharmacy is not on that list and you're like, you're kind of scared, you're questioning it, talk to that provider about it. Ask them what other options they have. Do they have the option to order from another pharmacy? You can tell them, this is the pharmacy I would prefer to use. Do you work with this pharmacy, or can you work with this pharmacy? And see what they say. There may be a price difference. Like, there are some pharmacies that charge more because because they're on that list, right? Where the product may be more expensive. Both because they're on that list and they can prove that they're it, and also because of their supply and demand. A lot of these pharmacies charge what they charge because they're able to keep up with the supply and demand, period. I myself can say that I've had to change pharmacies for my business because the pharmacies I was previously using were not able to keep up with supply and demand. If it takes me 4 weeks to get my medication, that means both myself and my clients are not on our medications for 4 weeks. So obviously I want to go with a place that's going to have the best product and has the supply, the demand, has the product consistently. Consistency is key. If I order medications now and I get them in a week, but the next time I order from you, it takes 4 weeks, I'm not going to stick with that pharmacy, right? So I will tell you, the pharmacies that got it going on, they have systems in place. They have the people to back it up, the people in their pharmacy to make the medications to stay on top of the supply and demand. They may charge more. So I want you to take that into consideration as well, because I myself, as a provider, have seen that. I have seen that sometimes when you change pharmacies, if you get what you need, you may have to pay a little bit more, right? So keep all of those things and take all of those things into consideration. And I will make sure to drop that FDA approved list when we are done with this live stream. Let me take a sip of water, y'all. All right. So the next thing I wanted to address, someone under one of my videos asked how I felt about doing like a water fast while they're on this medication. And I saw another question, someone asking how I felt about diets while you're on this medication. And my feelings on that are no. I do not suggest dieting or fasting while you're on this medication for a couple of different reasons. Number one, let's talk about your blood sugars. This medication is going to affect your blood sugars. This does not cause hypoglycemia, like it's not going to purposely make your blood sugars drop. But what a lot of people notice is that they're dealing with their blood sugar dropping. They're dealing with hypoglycemia because they're not eating as much, right? If you're used to eating this much, you're always full, you're eating these heavy carb-filled meals, all the sugary, the starches, all the things, and you're dropping your meals. Not only are you eating healthier, but you're eating much smaller portions. You may see a change in your blood sugars, right? Also, the other thing is people forgetting to eat. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. It happens to me quite a bit. I forget to eat. I'm not hungry, so I don't eat. And when you don't eat and your blood sugar drops, obviously you're going to have some changes. So if you're already on a medication where it's going to cause you to eat less, it can affect your blood sugars related to that. I wouldn't suggest that you fast for that specific reason, okay? Now, the next reason is the longevity. I always tell people to start with the end in mind when you are on these medications. I want you to think about your life in the long term. If your goal is to live a healthier life, your goal is to make these healthy lifestyle changes and to be able to sustain when you're off of this medication, now's the time for you to start doing that. Okay. So I want you to literally grab pen and paper and visualize what you want your life to look like. When I am 50 pounds lighter, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want my everyday eating to look like. This is what I want my exercise to look like. This is what I want my relationship with food to look like. And I want you to start doing that now. So for example, if you know that you want to go on at least a 30-minute walk every single day, but you want to maybe do weight lifts 4 times a week, start that now. If you know your relationship with food that you want is, I want to be able to go out for drinks and dinner with my friends every once in a while, start that now. Do it now and live the life that you want to live long term now. Because I feel like if you are doing drastic measures right now while you're on the medication, you have the medication right there that's helping you, and then you're also not eating. But if you're not going to be on the medication forever, and you're not going to starve yourself forever, how is that helping you in the long run to do it now? Right? You may lose that weight, but are you going to keep that weight off? No, because that's not something you can sustain long term. So always start with the end in mind, you guys. And for me, I'll give you an idea. I talk about this before on a TikTok video that I made. I had imposter syndrome like crazy when it came to sharing my weight loss journey. And the reason is I saw all these people on TikTok and on YouTube who were on these GLP-1s, and they were making all these fancy, elaborate meals, and they were working out super duper hard 6 days a week. And I thought to myself, I can't sustain that. I just cannot. I told you guys earlier, I work 7 days a week, and I'm not kidding when I say I work 7 days a week. This week is the first exception. I took 2 days off for my birthday, but I've worked 7 days a week for about the last 8 or 9 months. I work in the hospital as an ICU nurse. I work Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays, 12-hour shifts, night shift. And then every other day a week, Wednesday through Saturday, I'm working in my business. On top of that, I'm a single parent. Granted, my child is not a baby. My son just turned 18 2 weeks ago. I still have to be a mom, right? So I have to take all of those things into consideration and create a plan that works for me. And also about my goals. My goals, I want to be able to be social. I want to be able to go out with my friends and have drinks and have dinner every once in a while. Like tonight, I'm going out to celebrate my birthday. I don't want to feel like, oh, I can't eat out. I can't have a drink every once in a while with my friends. I can't enjoy life because I have to stick to this routine and this routine only, or I'm going to gain the weight back, right? So the most realistic thing to do is to create a plan right now and start living in that plan and making it work for you now. Do the mental changes and the physical changes and even the spiritual changes, whatever you need to do to get to where you want to be, do it now. Make it a reality now. Make it a routine now. So when the medication stops, you're already doing the things, okay? And for me, that means realistic meal plans, okay? I don't do fancy meals, you guys. I hate to break it to you. I don't have all the fancy Tupperware with all of the cute, I mean, I just bought myself a cute lunchbox. That's a little bit different, but I don't have all the fancy elaborate meals. I do the things that work best for me, which are quick and easy meals, things that I can make in 20 minutes or less, because I don't have time to be in the kitchen after working a 13-hour shift in the hospital, right? Literally when I get off at 7 o'clock in the morning, I rush to get my son to school and I come back home and I take a quick nap, essentially is what it is. I don't have time to be in the kitchen for hours and hours on end, both cooking and having to clean up after I make these elaborate meals. So I find things that are easy for me. I do a lot of salads. And the thing that I love the most, I've been doing what I call adult Lunchables. They're literally my favorite thing. I literally have one right here next to me. I eat cheese and grapes and tuna with crackers, and I do what feels best for me, right? On top of those big long meals that take forever, I don't have the capacity to eat heavy meals. I can't do it. Not when I'm up and moving a lot at my job, especially I sleep during the day and then I work at night. So I don't want to eat a heavy meal at midnight when I'm at work. I want to eat things that are light, that are not going to weigh me down, and that are also not going to make me feel nauseous. So consider all of those things and do what's going to work best for you in the long run. Because starting something that you're just going to stop, the second you quit that and you quit the medication, we already know what's going to happen. You're going to gain that weight right back. And then you're going to be mad and you're going to say, why did I spend all this money just to gain the weight right back? I think that's another thing that's talked about in a bad light in the media. All these people that are like, oh, as soon as I took the medication, I stopped and or I gained weight back. And I will give you this analogy is that if you were to break your foot and they give you crutches and all you do is use those crutches, what's going to happen 3 months down the road when they take those crutches? The problem is still going to be there. You're still going to have a broken foot. You haven't done anything to put a cast on it, to set the bones back where they're supposed to be. You haven't done physical therapy. You haven't done anything to fix the actual problem. You just use the crutches. So when the crutch is taken away and you have to walk on that foot, of course you're going to revert back to the pain. You're going to revert back to everything that you had in the beginning. So don't let the medication be the crutch. It's just the crutch that's fixing the problem, and you have the problem just lingering in the background. Whatever the problem is for you, fix it and create a routine that helps you to not just fix the problem, but keep that issue resolved. Like, don't go back to the problem again. So like I talked about earlier, if it's mental health related, it's depression, it's anxiety, you're a sad eater, you're an emotional eater like me, get to the root of that problem, fix it, create routines now and get in those routines to help you stay where you are, stay in that healthy place. If you know it's okay, I have a family, we always like to eat, we always like to go out and we eat unhealthy, like fix that. Get to a healthy routine now. If you know it's your schedule, like me, I know my schedule is chaotic. What works for me in the long term? What can I sustain long term? What's realistic for me long term? Get into it and create those routines now while you have the medication to help you so that you can continue to do those things. And then you won't have to worry. I mean, are people going to gain some weight back? It does happen. It does, right? You could, but you want to do your best to fix your foundation so that your house is on solid ground. And that way you are building on top of that solid ground of those routines that you have created while you're on the medication. That's my best advice for you guys. No fad diets. Please don't go on a water diet, you guys. You're setting yourself up for failure in so many ways. I will also tell you, funny story. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Is I had someone, so my business is inside of a building with other businesses, okay? And I had someone, a lot of people in that business know that or in that building know that I'm a nurse, so they just automatically come to me when they have issues. I had one woman who came knocking on my door. She thought she was having a heart attack, you guys. She was profusely sweating. Her hands were shaking, and she was like, oh my God, I'm about to pass out. I don't know what to do. I think I'm having a heart attack. So me as a nurse, I automatically knew. Number one, we had already shared that we were both on a GLP-1 medication. So I had that in the back of my mind. But as a nurse, I already knew what these signs and symptoms were. And I knew she was about to pass out. So I grabbed her and I was like, let's have a seat right here in this chair. And I ran and grabbed a piece of candy. It was hypoglycemia, you guys. Your blood sugar will drop if you're not eating, okay? So if you are trying to fast and you're trying to do a water diet, you're trying to do this and that, I guarantee you're going to be in the same boat. You're going to be profusely sweating, hands shaking, about to pass out, wondering how you got to that point, okay? So set healthy routines for yourself to not get in that boat, because you don't want to be there. You don't want to be on the ground opening your eyes with EMTs like, are you okay? And when you wake up, you're like, what happened? And they're like, your blood sugar was 5. Don't do that to yourself trying to do fad diets while you're on this medication. It's not necessary, okay? And it's just not healthy overall. So this is getting kind of long. I will go over one more question that I got. And then I guess we'll discuss some of the rest of them in the next live that I do. Let me look at the comments real quick. Hi, Teresa. Thank you so much for your comments. Yeah, I forget to eat too. I know I'm not alone in that. It's so easy to do. Like when your stomach's not telling you to eat, you forget about it. Especially like me, I have ADHD brain. I will do 55 million things, and then all of a sudden I'm like, why do I have a headache? Why why do I feel kind of shaky? Oh, I don't think I ate in a while. So thanks so much for your comment. So let's talk about my face and my skin and how I'm keeping my body up with this weight loss. And then I guess I'll share the announcement with you guys now. So as of this week, I have lost 42 pounds. I'm still kind of shook by that. 42 pounds, you guys. And so I will share with you guys what I am doing to kind of help keep my body to, I'm trying to shrink the rest of my body as I'm losing the weight, right? So I know we've all seen those shows where people lose a bunch of weight and they end up with a lot of saggy skin. That's natural. It happens, especially when you're losing weight super duper fast. Sometimes it's very hard for your body to keep up. Or your skin to keep up with the rest of your body as you're shrinking, right? So I will say I am grateful. I feel like it has taken me a little while to get to that 42-pound mark because I haven't been as consistent on my journey. But at the same time, that's worked to my advantage as well because it has given me the opportunity to come up with healthy routines along the way, to create healthy routines, and also for me to keep my skin tight as I'm losing the weight. So I don't end up with the drastic amounts of loose skin. For me, I do radio frequency skin tightening, and radio frequency skin tightening, the radio frequency emits like waveforms that warm the skin up, and it also warms up the fat below. So I use this on my clients when I do body contouring with them, right? And it helps you to lose the fat underneath your skin because it literally warms it up, right? It emulsifies those fat cells. But the most important part for me is what it does to my skin. And what the radio frequency does is it encourages your skin to create more collagen and elastin. And those are the things that give your skin that rubber band effect. So it tightens the skin in those areas. And I would recommend for any of you that are on your weight loss journey, if you are interested in doing something like this, look up body contouring in your area or look up radio frequency skin tightening. And I'm sure there's a body contourist in your area that could help you with this. It's non-invasive treatment. Of course, there's the invasive and the non-invasive types of radio frequency, you guys. I will say there's more extreme ones where there's radio frequency that has microneedling. That would be like the Morpheus 8s. That I'm sure you guys have seen. Kim Kardashian has done Morpheus 8 on her entire body. And then the radio frequency that I do does not involve the microneedling. It's literally just a wand that heats up. You rub it on top of the skin on the surface level and just do passes. It literally just feels warm. And but as it's warming the skin, it is encouraging the skin to create that extra collagen and that elastin in those areas. The machine that I use has multiple wands on there. So I have a large one, a medium-sized one, and then a small one that's tripolar radio frequency that's like this big. And I use it on my face. And I love that one because you can get into the nooks and the crannies of your face. Like for me, my nasolabial folds right here. For me, as I've lost the weight, I have lost significant fat in my face, which is tough because as we age, we already start to lose fat in our face. And that's why you see a lot of older people where we tend to you get sagging because you lose the structure and the fat underneath. So the skin starts to sag. Okay. That's completely normal with aging. And it's also normal with losing weight. So when you're aging and losing weight at the same time, you're going to end up with that saggy skin, right? So this has helped me with my with not having as much saggy skin, is being able to do that. I do it as often as I can. Like I said, I'm so busy, but I try to do it. Like if I have gaps in between my clients, or if I have a day where I'm not as busy, I might do it. Just do a quick 20 to 30-minute session myself. But it has helped significantly. I do it on my stomach and I do it on my face, and it has helped to, like, just those areas around my nasolabial folds. I will tell you guys, as of today, I am 38 years old. I have not had Botox. I have not had fillers, or any of those things yet. This is the year for sure. I already saw like a little bit of sagging in my face when it comes to my smile lines here, my nasolabial folds. But I will say it saw a significant difference as I started to lose weight. So if you're having the same issues, I would just suggest radiofrequency skin tightening. It has been a game changer for me. It definitely helps. I could stand to do it a little bit more. Like I said, I'm super busy, but it definitely helps with rebuilding some of the collagen and elastin, and it literally tightens the skin in those areas. If you guys are ever interested, I'll drop my business Instagram down below, so you guys can just take a look at some of the clients that I have that I do radio frequency on. It makes a significant difference. I have some clients where when they come in for body contouring, I focus on radio frequency skin tightening the most, because you can see immediate changes in their body. Within that hour and a half long session, the before and after photos, they lose up to an inch in those sessions, an inch to an inch and a half in those sessions, just from doing the radio frequency. So if you're looking for something that's non-invasive, you're not ready for surgery, you're not ready for all the other things, the Botox, the fillers, all the things, I would look into radio frequency skin tightening. Like I said, it's non-invasive, it's not painful at all. Most of my clients say it just feels really soothing, and it's just like a warm sensation, and it's literally just gliding over the surface of your skin. The other great thing, you can use it almost everywhere on your body. Like I said, I've done my face and I've done my belly. I've done clients' arms. I have a client, we're doing cellulite treatment on her legs. So we've done her legs before. I'm trying to think what else. I have a client, we did her legs and her butt to just tighten the area. You could use it anywhere on the body. It's non-invasive, it's not painful. So just giving yourself that extra tightening, and especially if you're able to do it like treatments once a week or at least twice a month, it will help significantly. Now, I will say, if you've already lost a significant amount of weight and you have really loose skin, it can help with that, but it's not going to completely give you that tummy tuck, super duper tight, taut stomach, you know. So I will say, definitely talk to your provider of whoever you go to, your body contourist or aesthetic nurse that you go to, and talk to them about, like, realistically what you feel like your body needs. For me, this is it. I don't plan on doing anything super duper invasive. As far as doing like Morpheus 8, where you're doing the radio frequency skin tightening with the microneedling, I definitely want to give that a try. It's actually a machine that I'm interested in purchasing for my business. In the near future, hopefully. But I've seen amazing results from that. The fact that you have the microneedling, the needles are able to go up to 8 millimeters into the skin. So the same results that I'm getting on the surface level of my skin and right below my skin with my external wand, you're going to get that deep down in the tissue, and it causes regeneration of the skin. So just like every skin cell in our body regenerates itself naturally, I believe it's like a 2-week turnover every 2 weeks. It's naturally doing that. It's speeding that process up. So all of those skin cells are brand new. And on top of that, you're getting the extra collagen and elastin that's being built. That's going to make that new skin even juicier, like very supple. How else would I describe it? Like, it gives you that bounce back in your skin is the best way that I can describe it. It's brand new skin, you guys. So you're tightening that area, and not only are you seeing the results immediately, but you also see results over time. You gradually will start to see more and more results. So you're getting the instant results where you can lose up to an inch and a half. And then over the days into your next session, you'll continue to see your skin just looks brand new skin. So for those of you wondering what I'm doing to kind of keep up with my body, it's that so far I haven't had any areas that are super saggy. Like I said, again, my face, it's about that time anyways, for me to start doing the Botox, the fillers, the things. But it has helped me significantly with, I guess, giving my jaw a little bit more definition and kind of tightening the skin on my face. And on my stomach as well. My stomach was the area I was worried about the most. Although you could see a lot more like fat loss in my face, my stomach, I did not want to have the extra saggy skin on my stomach. I was really worried about that because I just don't want to get a tummy tuck. I don't want to get a tummy tuck. So I kind of tried to do those areas and focus in on the areas where I see like, okay, there's going to be significant change in these areas where I had the bigger pockets of fat. I try and focus in on those areas. And like I said, 30 minutes to an hour session makes a huge difference in just the overall quality of your skin in those areas. And also the added boost, it does melt fat. So if you are doing it on your stomach, it's going to help to define those areas. If you've already lost weight, you're going to get more definition in those areas. So I absolutely love it. Like I said, I'll drop my business page below for you guys to check out some of the before and afters and some of the results that I get on my clients. And if you guys are interested, let me know. I would love to do a live session with you guys and show you guys how the radio frequency works, doing a session on my face or maybe even my stomach or my arms to show you guys what it looks like and talk to you guys more about that, as well as maybe even talking more about all of the different options you have for keeping your body up. There is also EMS, which is electromagnetic muscle stimulators. Sorry. But it's kind of, they have the EMS that you can use on your body. They have EMS you can use on your face. It literally just tightens the muscles. It causes the muscles to contract. And so that could also give you that initial like lift as well. I've seen people do that on their butt and on their stomachs as well as they're losing weight. The contraction helps with same thing to tighten that area up. So they do have EMS as well. So yeah, if you're interested in me doing a video of all those different options for you guys, you want to know about how to keep your skin and your body up as you're going on your weight loss journey, please comment and let me know. I would love to do a video on that. As you guys know, I own a med spa. I'm so into all those things. I absolutely love beauty, health, wellness, all the things to make everybody feel and look their best. That's what I'm all about. Let's see. I think that was one of the last questions I wanted to go over. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions that you'd like me to answer in the comments or in my next live, let me know. I may do another like Q&A video where I just literally sit down and answer all your questions. I love doing this. While I don't mind answering them in the comments, I feel like I could just give you more detail and more context if I'm doing it in a video, so I can kind of like, you know, just talk and just let you guys know some of the details. And also there's also going to be like caveats to certain things. Like it's never just black and white. There's always going to be that gray area in between. So I love sharing my nursing expertise with you guys, as well as my personal experience with this, with the medications and what I'm doing with health, beauty, and wellness wise. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them down below and I will try my best to answer them in the comments and also in my next upcoming videos. I really appreciate you guys joining me for my birthday. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for all the birthday love. I'm so excited to hit this milestone of 42 pounds lost. It's been an amazing journey. I'm really excited. As far as my goal, I still would like to lose another 30 pounds. So that's what I'm shooting for right now. I will keep you guys posted. I am more so focused on like my body, how I feel and how I look than the pounds on the scale. But I would like to lose like at least another 30 pounds. Would kind of be like where I'm shooting for. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. Also, congratulations to all of you who are out there crushing it on your weight loss journey. I love reading all your comments, your success stories. It's really motivational. You guys really do motivate me. I appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of my journey with me and sharing your journey so that I can be a part of your journey as well. All of the likes, the shares, the comments, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal along this journey. I really appreciate it. And thank you all again for coming to celebrate my birthday with me. And thank you so, so, so much. I love you all, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Until next time.